Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk. Back again with you guys for another episode of our Let's Talk Arsenal series. I'm joined by French. How you doing, mate? It's been a while. Good to have you back on the show.
Yeah, not too bad, Tom. You know, not too bad. I've been smiling all day, not been getting any work done. How about you? How you been feeling today?
Yeah, not bad, to be fair. It's my day off work, so I've been out and about. I tried not to get involved, today. I really tried not to look online all that much of what was going on. But of course, it's been a pretty hectic day for news dropping. Jesus, as we know from yesterday, looks pretty much a cert now. Rafinha is pushing forwards as well, and Arsenal look to be in the driving seat of that deal. They're going back in, and I said to be on it, quotes for Lissandro Martinez. So yeah, it's it's not a bad time to be an Arsenal fan in June, still, to be fair, because the one thing we have come to understand as Arsenal fans is that we don't do business early, but that's changing a little bit this summer, isn't it?
Is this my club, Tom? Is this my club? Is this Arsenal? Like, this is insane. I honestly, like, I'm just overjoyed. I think a lot of us probably said, yeah, we've cleared out in January. We're going to spend that money in summer, but I don't think any of us thought it was going to be like this so quick. Wait, we've got, obviously Marquinhos was the first one. We got Vieira over the line. They're saying Jesus is done, and now we're working on Rafinha. So that's like we're working on number 4 already. And I know part of the reason we're coming here to talk about our signings, but I mean, part of the other reason is to laugh at all the clubs who, a little stuck in the mud. They're not really doing too much right now. Obviously, I saw someone in the comments saying Rory looked like he was going to cry on stream. I mean, it's just beautiful.
Yeah, I titled the show after Rory's quote. Just for the record, I don't know Rory. I've never done any work with Rory. I'm sure he's a really nice guy. The video that he did when she's kind of talking about the Jesus deal and the fact he's like, we need to hijack this. We cannot allow Arsenal to get this deal done. I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's great. I look forward to seeing more of this kind of reaction as well, which is just fantastic. But yeah, there's been a lot of people upset about Arsenal's business. There's just kind of this running thing that people can't kind of configure in their minds that Arsenal are capable of doing this. I know that you just said there, like, is this my club? Like, I can't believe, that we're looking like we might have this successful window at the moment. I say successful, we need to get these deals over the line, of course, and we are tempting fate a little bit by talking about it. But I just, honestly, I can't quite fathom the reactions. That it's just glorious, isn't it?
Where? So that was the other one as we saw on Twitter today. It was Rance's channel, and where are Arsenal getting all this money from? What's going on? What, aren't they breaching FFP? We've got them up in arms. It's amazing. They're shook. They're terrified. What I like about the Rory one, and I'll say I do enjoy watching Rory from time to time. I think he says some outrageous stuff and some spot on stuff, as everyone does. Yeah. But what I like about him is he's very honest. He doesn't go with the flow. He'll say something out of the blue. And there, what he's really doing is he's given a lot of credit to us. He's kind of not in saying we should be able to hijack it, which I don't think they can. But at the same time, he's respecting the signing, which is great. And we've got him genuinely, upset and scared. And then Ranson, Flawless, and the United guys were saying, where's all this money coming from? Does Rafinha coming in? Are they going to have to put Saka left back? Like, what are they selling their players? Like, people are trying to make themselves feel better with all these weird kind of explanations and narratives. Nah, baby, we're just sourcing. We're just
Let me ask you the question. Where is all this money coming from, French? I mean, I have my own kind of understanding of the situation, but I'm curious to kind of where your head's at. Why are Arsenal being able to do all this?
Yeah, all right. So there's a few things to take into account. First of all, we got money. We're a rich club. We're not a broke club. We've paid off a lot of our debts. We've obviously got the full ownership of KSC, which came along with refinancing some of our debt structures and this sort of thing. The other things to take into consideration, I mean, I know you pointed out on Twitter that they actually have been backing whichever manager is in charge since they took full ownership.
Mm.
So them spending a bit of money is maybe not that surprising. Then you factor in January, where we knew we're paying players to leave, cutting down that wage bill. I don't know the exact figures, but I remember it was something like 205 million to like 80 million or something. And that's a lot of money. And then the other side of it is we've always been quite good at structuring deals in terms of the fee. You know, I think any, you know, the kind of payment structures that we set up are such that the initial fee is not really the concern. I think it's been more the wage bill in the past. So I think the fact that we've trimmed that down, alongside the full ownership and alongside, let's be honest, there is Arteta's doing some I think Clive from Arsenal Vision calls it upwards managing. You know, and I think he's got the trust of the ownership, and I think they're saying, right, well, we can back this guy. So I think we have to give credit to Arteta and Edu for saying we actually need to spend to keep Arsenal relevant and to make sure that we're going on to that next stage. So there's definitely an element of self-interest from the KSC. I don't think it's necessarily just, you know, oh, we want Arsenal to win. It's also we need Arsenal to win. Like, we can't be out of these conversations anymore. You know, we could go all the way down the rabbit hole of why that's in some ways self-serving and not necessarily all altruism, but that's not really the point. The point is we're doing stuff right now that, for me personally, yeah, sure, we're going to spend some money because we didn't spend in January, but it's not just some money, it's who are we targeting, it's the kind of profile of players. This looks intelligent, this makes sense, this is clear. Like, I know, I can see what we're doing. I don't know, how do you feel about the Rafinha one? Because I know some people are saying that's too much money on a position. We've got Saka there. I think it's necessary, but what do you think?
Yeah, look, I think it's the type of signing that clubs make when they want to progress forward. You know, I think we're doing business that shows that we want to upgrade certain areas. Lisandro Martinez is an example of that. Obviously, Jesus is another, and we've already seen it in previous, you know, windows with the Ødegaard signing, with Tomiyasu, with Ben White. You know, Ben White in particular, I don't think anyone thought 50 million quid was going to be dropped on a centre back last season. You know, so we're doing business that people wouldn't necessarily expect us to. The Fabio Vieira deal, I don't think anyone saw. You know, an attacking, creative midfielder that's got capabilities of scoring goals too. I don't think anyone thought that. It came out of nowhere, which we love when that happens. So yeah, what's interesting about it with the Rafinha one is I think that Saka's obviously got the versatility to play on the left-hand side. You could play him at 10. You could play him left central midfield, some people say. I think he would work on the left. I think he's worked there. I remember the goal he scored against Brentford from the left-hand side. Great strike into the side netting. So, yeah, look, I think there's capabilities. What I think people are missing, and I talked with Mike and Owen on the Gooners pod about this, our mutual friends, of course, over there. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already to the Gooners podcast. And Mike obviously did a whole rundown of the numbers of kind of where our wage bill is at and where it's been. And according to his numbers, and of course take these with a pinch of salt because they are approximates based off of information that you can access online. Spot Tracker quite good for wages and stuff. But basically the total annual expenditure in 1920 was 221.8 million. You fast forward that to, if I try and get the stats up for here, you fast forward that to 22-23 and it's 163 million. You've got a saving of approximately 80 million off of the wages that we've done. The players like Aubameyang, the players like Ozil, Lacazette being moved on, Socrates, Mustafi, you know, lowering the wage bill, lowering the age profile. Kolasinac is a massive one. Socrates, you know, we've managed to get all of these players off now. And so when people are like, where on earth do Arsenal have this money from? Well, we have the money because we've acted in a way in which we've cut massively the finances and the outgoings, or rather the outgoings financially of the club, so that we've got this huge kind of, not pit of money, but just wiggle room, if you like. You know, we've got maneuverability in the market, which is something that we wouldn't have had if we'd have kept all these players at the club. And not only that, but we competed last year for fourth place where not many people thought we were going to do that. And we were so agonizingly close, you know, from finishing fourth, all the while doing all of this restructuring, all of this rebuilding. And I get the idea of wanting to win now. We should have invested, gone down a different route and tried to get players in then that were going to win. But I think for the benefit of the long-term success of the club, this action that is going on and has been going on since Arteta arrived, or maybe slightly after Arteta arrived, that is what we're seeing the benefit of, you know, right now. And I think that gives me that encouragement that next season, if we manage to get this business done that we're trying to, that we're going to, you know, continue to push on. And speaking of pushing on, do you know, for you, is there kind of an expectation for next season? You know, I've said on the channel, for me, it's Champions League qualification. You know, we have to qualify for the Champions League next season, especially if for a successive summer, we're the highest spending club in the league.
Absolutely. 100% Champions League qualification will be a minimum for these players. I think with how close we got this season, with all the problems you mentioned, with the first 3 games of the season basically thrown away for various kind of factors, and you know, relying on children in the last third of the season where, you know, a lot of people got tired, a lot of people got injured, and you know, we just kind of fizzled out, which a lot of people expected because of, you know, the fact we didn't reinforce in January. I absolutely think top 4 is going to be the target for sure. I think if we get all of our targets, we should probably aim for top 3. And also try and win the Europa League because we're in it. So, and with the players we've got and the kind of depth we're adding to the squad, I think we should be going for both competitions. So I actually would like us to see I would like to see us win the Europa League. I imagine that will be a target, because if we're talking about we should be in the Champions League, then we should be in the final or winning the kind of thing below. We shouldn't be scared of any teams in the competition or anyone who's going to drop out of the Champions League. And I don't think we should be if we achieve these targets. And what's the interesting thing, and this is just kind of anecdotal, it doesn't really matter now because we didn't make top 4. But I think one of the main reasons everyone wanted to make top 4, obviously we love to see the black and gold kit in Champions League. But I think it was really the idea that we need the money and we need to be able to attract our targets. But I'm not going to lie, Tom, it looks like we've still got the money and we're still able to attract our targets, which I think is amazing.
This was the next topic I wanted to come on to, kind of the myth of the Champions League, if you like. And, you know, after we didn't qualify for the Champions League, you know, like I was very, I was very, very kind of apprehensive. I was very disappointed. I was gutted when we didn't get in the Champions League. And it's a weird one, because if I said to you, you know, if Arsenal qualified, and, you know, we can point this towards Spurs as well. If Spurs qualify, are Arsenal or Spurs going to win the Champions League next season? And, you know, if we're very honest with ourselves, the very small likelihood is no. You know, it's probably not going to happen. So the primary reason to be in that competition is, of course, to win it. The secondary reason to be in that competition, we thought, you know, is to be able to attract players so that you can build up your squad, so you can be in a position, and a better position, to try and win that, and obviously, you know, push further up the league and try and compete for titles, etc. That's why we want to get into the Champions League as well, because, you know, despite us being linked with these players and having a successful start to the window and a prospective strong end, hopefully, to the window, it is coming off the back of, you know, a season where we thought we weren't necessarily going to be able to do that. Maybe we wouldn't have been able to go get a second striker this summer, then instead of, you know, Jesus and renewing Nketiah. I think that's probably the main difference we might have seen if we'd have qualified for the Champions League. But I wrote this piece about the idea around, you know, Spurs and the fact that their kind of victory is going to be a little bit possibly short-lived in the sense. Now, so this was obviously headline: Spurs Champions League qualification victory over Arsenal appears short-lived should Gunners win the window. You know, it's satirical. Let's not. I bet
the Spurs fans love that.
Yeah, and as you can see, for those that have not seen this on my Twitter profile, at Tom Cantor Media, if you want to follow, it's got 386 comments and 267 quoted tweets, and they're all from Spurs fans. You know, 99% of them are from Spurs fans. Basically, a big Spurs account's retweeted it, and that classic thing of all the minions have come for me. I just muted the tweet and got on with the rest of my day, to be honest. You know, it's just a lot of energy wasted. But it's the idea around this piece, and, you know, a lot of criticisms of the article was that, you know, like, what are you talking about? Like, you know, you're going to be playing Thursday night football next season and all of this. And the idea of the article was that my perception of missing out on Champions League football last year was all down to the damage it would prospectively do to Arsenal's hopes in the transfer window. You know, that was my biggest concern about the following season, was that all the plan, all the hope we had that we might be able to get in some massive players would be completely dashed because we're just not in the Champions League. And clearly that's not happened. So the idea around the piece is, despite the fact that Spurs qualified, they've brought in Basuma, you know, who I personally wouldn't have signed whilst the ongoing investigation is there. They're being linked to Jed Spence, although that's gone quite quiet, and actually that's apparently may not even be happening either now. Perisic, which is a very Antonio Conte signing, of course. And now they're being linked with Richarlison at Everton as well. Now, don't get me wrong, French, with respect to these players, if Arsenal had qualified for the Champions League and our window was, a player of Jed Spence's level, Richarlison's level as a forward, I would have been losing my head if we'd have gone down that route. And I think this is what's got to the Spurs fans, is they're seeing Arsenal having missed out on Champions League. And, we're looking like we're getting a Manchester City starting striker. Rafinha, a player that is Premier League experience, top quality winger. Sandro Martinez, Man United, seeming at the moment can't get a look in terms of competing with us for that one. Arsenal were leading the race there. We snatch a player in Fabio Vieira, who Spurs have been tracking for quite some time. I think I saw a great tweet from LT Arsenal who said, thanks to all the Spurs fans who produced some breakdown videos on Fabio Vieira for us, which is great. And do you get where I'm coming from with this idea that the Champions League is obviously you want to try and win it, but the secondary option to that is obviously what it brings you. But Arsenal are still showing their clout and their stature over Spurs, despite not having that competition.
Absolutely, it's amazing, and I do love it, and I do see online. I've been rattling Spurs fans all day. Spurs, United, and City fans have just been holding it on my timeline, and Spurs fans, there's a lot of them just kind of deluding themselves. That a lot of people have this narrative that Spurs can offer more than Arsenal, and like it just clearly isn't the case. It just apparent by their ability to get their targets and our ability to, well, again, we haven't secured everything yet, so I don't want to speak too soon, but it definitely looks like are at least in pole position and currently securing and taking off the boxes. And as you say, that Jed Spence link has gone gold. And if they're getting turned down by lower league players, I don't know, that championship, that Champions League is just not, is not as attractive as they seem to think. And I absolutely love it. And I think, and this is where I want to give a quick shout out to, I say shout out like he gives a shit, but like I want to big up Edu. You know what I mean? I want to big him up because
that guy that's a regular subscriber to the channel.
Yeah. Give him a follow on Twitter, Edu. You could big Jassy, big French is talking on him. So I reposted something I'd written at the start of last season about Edu kind of deserving some credit and some flowers for an interview he'd done after we'd lost the first 3 games of the season. We had the international break, and he came out basically saying, just wait, watch the team. It's a young team. It will develop, blah, blah, blah. And what I liked about it is he kind of came out and owned the strategy. And I said, fair play, because then we went on to win the next 3 games. We integrated Tomiyasu, Ramsdale, Soro Odegaard, and all of a sudden we started loving these new additions, and the summer looked quite good. And so this time around, it's a step up. Obviously, we're not shopping in that same kind of level of play for the most part. I mean, Lisandro Martinez, I actually do not want to let him go. Rafinha is a highly coveted player, of course. Gabriel Jesus, we don't need to talk about his pedigree. We know what he's done and what he's capable of doing.
What do you make of the people downplaying Jesus? Because I'm seeing a lot of people trying to really, and even within the Arsenal community, downplaying who Jesus is.
Watch Rory's video, mate. He's not downplaying it. He's upset about it. Like,
no, he's not.
So obviously there's some myths around his kind of output, his productivity, and when you look at his numbers by starts versus by substitute appearances, you could maybe make a case to say he's not the best substitute in the world. But if you start him as a centre forward, right or left winger, he will score a lot of goals and he will create a lot of chances. He's a fantastic striker. His pedigree it speaks for itself. Obviously, he's been at City, 4 times Premier League winner, and as I say, if you look at his numbers by starts, it's something like 76 goal involvements and 99 starts. I mean, it's an insane output. Even before that, in Brazilian football, he was a top prospect. He was being looked up by Barcelona, Madrid, and City, and I think one other team maybe. And he went to City because he wanted to work with Pep. which I think, and he actually took less money than he would have taken at one of these other clubs. So I think that kind of speaks a lot to his character and to his will to want to work harder and become a better player. And I think you're seeing a similar thing possibly with Arteta here, where Chelsea maybe could offer him some more money. Spurs can offer him Champions League football, but I think there's an Arteta link. There's a will to want to work with a manager he already knows, a coach he already knows. But there's also, I think, something else is where I think some credit has to go again to Edu. Something about the kind of Brazilian link up that we're starting to build here. You know, the Samba boys. We've got Brexit FC and Samba FC, and it's just linking up. Beautiful thing. I just love to see it. Now, there's someone made a really good point. I can't remember who it was, but it probably was Clive, to be honest. I'm always taking his ideas. And it was about the idea that there's an upcoming World Cup, right? And we've seen Gabriel Martinelli come from.
I said this morning on the show. Are you talking about? Yeah,
I'm probably stealing that too, then, mate. Yeah. I'm saying it again, and I'm clicking there, but yeah. So he's gone from 4th division football to breaking into the Brazil national team. Gabriel in the Brazil national team. Not only is there a strong link up between Tite and Edu, but also there's clearly kind of like it's clear that coming to Arsenal for a young Brazilian player might be a way into the national team, and he's not getting those starts at Man City. We'll make him a focal point here, and also there's that element of existing chemistry. You know, Rafinha, Jesus, Martinelli, and Gabriel all playing on the same team is great for the Brazil national team as well. So this whole kind of synergy between Brazil and Arsenal at the moment, and the young players coming from there is quite incredible. And again, massive props for the transfer strategy. Big up Edu. Give him a follow on Twitter. He's a good guy.
Let's jump into the chat box and take some of the questions. We've only got 5 or so minutes left that we're going to go for. There's over 900 of you tuning in. Make sure if you aren't following French on Twitter to do so. He's a very, very funny man, as you can already tell. Doing some great stuff comedy-wise. Have you got some gigs coming up, mate, soon?
Yeah. In Bristol, we've got a gig at Cozy's on the 28th of this month. So on Tuesday, that's my gig. We're running a night there now, which is great.
And residency, or
man. Sorry?
Was that a residency?
It's our night. So I'm either going to be performing there or emceeing there every month. At the end of every month, it's in St. Paul's. Nice Bristol institution. I've got a few other gigs coming up. Two tomorrow. It's definitely a busy time. But if you're around Bristol, come to Cozy's on the 28th. That's the place to be.
Lovely stuff. You heard it from French there. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at FrenchGooner23. He will give you all the info if you want to go and check out that stuff. Let's read some of the comments. Fensom says, "Hi Tom, nice to have met you at the food festival today." Paul, thank you for coming over. Honestly, you should have seen French, the look on the missus' face when Paul comes over. Are you Tom? But I'm like, yeah.
Yes.
Honestly, the look, she was like, I'm dying here.
Yeah. Come on, man. Tom's famous now, bro. Come on.
I love what we're doing this window, Paul says. Getting quality and getting depth. I think we can compete for the Europa and go for the top 4 this season. Jose says, window is looking great. The quality of players we're bringing in is fantastic. Our squad should be much better and our bench is going to look so much better compared to last season. Craig, thank you so much for the super chat, mate. Really appreciate the continued support on the channel. I know you're committing a lot, and it really does mean a lot to me. TC, not a question, just showing some love for the channel. Keep up the good work, my friend. Thank you so much, Craig. And hopefully your scarf that he sent in the post is going to come through very soon over from Fort Lauderdale. So thank you so much, mate. Van City Gooner says, this is why we didn't buy in January. The players we wanted weren't available, and we had to wait. This is why the toxic fans crying doesn't make any sense. I still have my issues with January. I can't, wipe away the opportunity that I think that we missed. But I do think there is something to be said about, not panic buying as we have done. I still think there are opportunities that we missed in January that could have helped us. Bruno Guimaraes is the obvious one for me. I think that not panicking is something that will help us out in this window, despite what we missed last season. Sco says, how are the folk that shrieked our summer is dead because we don't have Champions League feeling in the back seats? How is that Conte Paul looking now? Paul says, credit where credit is due. As a club, we're finally starting to make moves and being aggressive in the market. And if he says Gabriel Jesus is a quality signing, not sure why people will complain about it. I think it's because there's 2 reasons. One, they're not an Arsenal fan, so the rival fans are coming out trying to make themselves feel better, or as this show is based upon, do go watch Rory Jennings' video on Gabriel Jesus and why Chelsea should be hijacking it. And secondly, they're just not big fans of what the project is right now, and any way to kind of criticize it it's probably linked in some way to that. We've seen it a number of times with other things. And we're probably, that's why I think Ben White gets a lot of stick unduly a lot of times, because of course he was brought in under this regime. Let's take a couple of questions before we wrap up though. Vinny says Martinez or Tielemans if their purpose is to play central midfield. You know, Martinez, French, we're looking at as a player that can come in and play left centre back, potentially left back, and has played a lot of defensive midfield. I say a lot, you know, a reasonable amount both for club and country at defensive midfield. So of the two, who do you lean towards?
I want Martinez more because of his versatility. I think Tielemans is brilliant though. Yeah, Martinez is a priority over Tielemans. If their purpose is play centre midfielder, is an interesting caveat to that, but he can play left back a lot, and I imagine he would slot there at times. And yeah, so I go Martinez.
I absolutely agree. Let's go to Aditya says, Tom, how do you think our defence would be if we're having Ben, Gabby, Saliba, and Ad Martinez? It's an insane defence to play against. Obviously, I think there's a question mark on defensive ability of obviously all four, because they're progressive centre backs. They're comfortable playing out from the back. I think that Gabriel is obviously the strongest defensively of them, followed closely by White. Martinez is as well very good defensively too. I think he would add a lot. The height will obviously be a question for a lot of people, but from watching a little clips of him, from hearing back from Ajax experts, he's a beast in the air, despite not being the tallest. The Butcher, indeed. You don't get that nickname by being a bad defender, I don't think.
Yeah,
Saliba, I'm really got your thoughts as your French background on Saliba, mate, at all. So tell me how you're feeling about that.
I'm super happy. I obviously, as it's my first language, I kind of was able to understand a lot of the nuance, I think, in the interviews he was doing, where he was lamenting his lack of opportunity. It was clearly never directed towards anyone or towards the club, rather just a frustration that as a young player he wants to play and wasn't able to. And so for me, I was always happy. I was always hoping this was possible for him to come back. 25, 30 million Marseille are talking about, they can get in the bin. You know, it's got to be at least 50, 60 for the PFA Young Player of the Year for France or whatever. So yeah, for me, I'm really happy to see him come back. I think we forgot Tomiyasu in that little defense sentence, by the way. He's obviously a wall at the right back. And I think White can cover at right back if Tommy gets injured. Saliba slots into White's position. It's all very nice. I like the look of it.
Our good friend Raf jumping into the chat box. My guys, I think we need to add both, to be honest. I'm not convinced with our midfielders currently reconstructed. Tielemans would be a great addition. Look, I think that Arsenal hopefully will get done. As we know, Jesus, Martinez and Rafinha are the next two we're prioritising. Central midfield, I think, is something that we will potentially see later on in the window if we're able to move out players for a significant amount of money to kind of, you know, recoup some capital to reinvest. There's over 1,000 of you tuning in. Thank you so much for the continued support on the channel. Do drop a like on the video if you haven't done so already, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. We are going to wrap things up there. We both got very busy evenings that we're going to get back to. But thank you for listening. French, always a pleasure. So great to see you again, and I'm sure we'll have you back on very soon.
It's been great. Yeah.
Tell people where they can find you and what you're going to be up to.
Yeah, no, well, at French Gooner 23 on Instagram. That's where I'm rattling rival fans, and yeah, just loving what I'm seeing. It's not even the end of June yet. It's not even the end of June, and we're doing mad stuff. Yeah, and yeah, just give me a follow there on Instagram at Jasi JASI.Bristol, and yeah, obviously subscribe to the Gooner Talk.
Absolutely. I don't know what's happened there. Jesus Christ. just trying to type something in the chat box and everything's changing. Thank you so much, everyone that's tuned in. Really appreciate your support on the channel. As always, I'll be back not tomorrow at 8 a.m. because I'm doing a 7-3 shift. And it is the usual Sunday. Try and take the Sundays off for the 8 a.m. shows. But we will be back in the afternoon and in the evening. There's a members podcast at 8 p.m. tomorrow. 6 of our members from the Discord server are coming in 2 30-minute slots, 3 each. So I'm looking forward to getting their thoughts and feelings around the window. I hope you've enjoyed this kind of reactionary show to some of kind of the trending chaos on the social side of fandom. If you have, do let us know in the comment section, and with a like as well. It really does help the channel. We'll see you again very, very soon. And as always, up the Arsenal.